pilots to their fighters.
Bet launch is imminent. Repeat, launch imminent.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello there.
We did it.
I have been waiting for someone to say General Kenobi all morning, and no one has responded with it.
It's been like
so
hours.
disappointed in everybody.
Well, welcome everyone to your premier casting crew for today's Calrissian Cup Fall Minor event. I am, of course, R1H4, and I am joined today by, oh dang it, it's this time, by the illustrious Uplink and Little Hammer. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good. In a good mood. Summer's winding down. The heat's still kind of unbearable outside, but today we're inside. Got some AC going. Gonna watch some Squadrons action.
There we go.
Can't be upset.
Besides the ultimate Star Wars betrayal that you all have put me through, I'm doing actually pretty good.
Top 10 Star Wars betrayals here all morning with Uplink. So we've got an exciting best. I believe we are now down to a top 8 for our Calrissian Cup Fall Minor event. We are playing for $500 and Calrissian Cup League points, which are going to be crucial in determining our Calrissian Cup final participants in only 2 lore
It's
matches.
coming up.
What in the world?
We've got the Fall Minor, the Fall Major, then the Grand Championship, $5,000 prize pool for that one. Whew. I can't believe it's winding up, down. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that, we were talking about it before we went live, but it's been going for a while. We've been here since January with that first spring minor.
Yeah, and it has been a fantastic ride so far. We have seen a number of different squadrons sort of rise and fall over the course of the league. We've seen stratagems employed, stratagems defeated, stratagems then re-employed. Like it's been a real wild ride. Of course, and I think we even had some additional sort of I guess you'd say charities that we were working towards at the beginning of the event, and now as we close things out, we are actually partnering with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and the team here is excited to support Make-A-Wish for the last 3 events we've got for the Calrissian Cup here, and we're asking you, the community, to help us reach a goal of 5,000 Canadian dollars so we can help make some wishes come true. So please support or donate. You can check it out at tgs.gg/WISH or wish. I believe there's even a little console command for all that information. Boy, it is. You know what? It's always a pleasure to help contribute to the community here, and Make-A-Wish always doing a great job at that. And speaking of making a wish, I think we've even got a few folks up that we may have not even seen on the cast before here for our very first match.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the first match of the day is going to be HUTT Cartel and Tangerine Squadron. HUTT Cartel, I believe we have seen before, but Tangerine Squadron, that is a new one for the stream, I believe. I don't want to misspeak, but
I know they've been around in a couple of different events, and I think they may have even made it into one of our elimination brackets before. We just did not have the opportunity, missed them by that much, to get them on camera. But here we go. We are going to have the HUTT Cartel and Tangerine Squadron coming up here. Yeah, go
shoot
for it.
You guys off into the first game. So I hope you guys have a good time.
Hammer, always a pleasure, sir.
Oh, look at us.
Boy. Look at us.
Look at us.
And here we go into our first lobby for today. Switching it up? No, not really. We're headed to the Nadiri Dockyards today for the first round.
Is it not a squadron start unless you go to Nadiri?
You know, it's a great point. I don't think you can have a squadron's event without first going to the Nadiri Dockyards.
I mean, it's not really possible. It's Oh,
I mean,
interesting here.
it's still an incredibly exciting map to play on here. We did, in fact, I'm just checking the setups here. It looks like we had HUTT Cartel choose the Imperial side of things here. So we do see all of those, I guess you could say, all of the standard faces for the HUTT Cartel up there, along with Tangerine on the Rebel side of things today.
And if they do keep with that setup, we'll have a pretty heavy defender setup here. Oh, those rascals. They teased us. So close. I was about to freak out if they were going B-Wing.
Maybe a little early for a B-Wing, especially on Nadiri. They're going to be hunting, how can I put it? Hunting the individual or little lingering AI squadrons floating around here on the scattered. That's the word I was looking for. The scattered AI packs here on Nadiri. And then using those X to get out in the middle and try to provide as much cover as they possibly can. So we shall see. We've got some great panoramic shots going on. I've got a little bit of maybe vertigo here as we spin sideways through it, but it's all right.
I'm excited to see what Tangerine's going to be offering for this match here. I think it's going to be a fun one, at least.
Tangerine coming in as the 6th seed into our top 12, beating out Crone Squadron from Night Witches here in the in the initial round, best of 12. And here we go into the match.
Oh boy. Excellent. So we're kicking it off here with okay, we've got, let's see here, 2 X-Wings, 2 Y-Wings, and a support. And then on the opposite side, let's see here, we've got 1, 2, 3 defenders, a bomber, and a support. So
a little bit of bonking around there for a Wookiee there. Yeah, it a slightly more, I guess you could say, player kill aggressive loadout from the Pink Cartel side of things. Only going with Sheriff of HUTT in that TIE bomber. He looks like they are catching a little bit of flack here, down to only 58 hull. Everybody else looking pretty good on the Rebel side of things, except for, of course, that morale bar that is heavily in favor of HUTT Cartel as we get underway here. Few more AI packs getting found there by Tangerine, but HUTT Cartel in pretty good shape here on the morale bar, and there it goes. There's a player kill on Darkblade, getting HUTT Cartel the opening attack phase in this very first round.
So this is probably one of the first times in the tournament more recently. The last few times we haven't seen a 3 defender setup. Usually it'll be 1 or 2. So we have a shift up in the meta here for HUTT Pink Cartel, and it's very aggressive, very aggressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially on the Nadiri dockyards here, we do usually see more emphasis on trying to hunt down those individual AI packs, right? Just given that they are so hard to find. Cartel taking a slightly different approach to solving that problem, choosing to go with that 3-wide defender loadout instead. And here we see, some ion coming in from the Reaper we are watching here from Stardude. Trying to take out Trevor on the other side. Trevor's X-Wing here. Some excellent ion cannon shots here from this TIE Reaper, trying to hold off Tangerine Squadron from downing that Raider Corvette. We can see A is almost all the way down here. B is getting now pummeled as well. Tangerine not finding those AI, not finding player kills either. HUTT Cartel looking to put a lot of pressure in. Tangerine finally gets down that Raider Corvette, and now, ooh boy, this is going to be a very extended assault phase here for HUTT Cartel. Tangerine unable to find any AI packs or player kills to get this morale bar to go in the opposite direction. Letting the HUTT now, trying to take down a Wookiee here, spinning, dodging here. Ooh, Lemming taking some serious damage there on the attack, trying to now pull some evasive maneuvers to get out of there. They know a few maneuvers. Can they actually get out of there with that defender? 24 hull remaining. Ooh, but boy, speaking of hull remaining, those assault frigates are both nearly dead in this initial assault phase here.
So they actually did a really fun strategy here. They went for both of them at the same time and got them both very low before the flip. So they're keeping that morale really tight on their...
And I have to imagine we're going to see an out of phase on the other. Yes, there it is. So a huge push of morale now for HUTT Cartel. Tangerine Squadron having just an extremely limited amount of time and space to get any damage done on those cruisers. They are playing on their back foot here. Let's see if they can bring it back just a little bit. D down, all was completely on shields, taking a beating on hull already. So even though they took a little bit to get there, they are making an extremely hard push on these Architect's cruisers now. D almost completely down. C shields falling a little bit. There goes the CR-90. Whoa, Cro-Magnon. Oh no!
They aren't able to.
And the kill. No good.
But they could still get it out of phase. Like, it is of that level that they could if they decide to take it out.
It is down to 5. Teams. Looks like they are floating around trying to get it taken down here. You can see Falrus taking a bunch of fire. They do finally get that B, so they do get one Corvette to try to push into this MC assault phase just a bit. But HUTT Cartel is hot on that MC-75. Here we go, Live and HUTT coming in strong on that shield generator. Here it goes. Ooh, having to make it a little bit of a bout face there, but another player coming in right behind them. Another pass at it. This should be able to burn it down. There it is. One shield generator down. Second shield generator down. Both are down on the MC-75. And it is, well, it is going to be a burn party here for the HUTT Cartel. No morale in sight here for Tangerine Squadron. They do manage to get a kill on the support there with Stardude, but Sheriff just going to town with that rotary cannon, buzzing that MC-75 down.
And we're seeing that aggressive loadout pay off right here. Sheriff doing the Lord's work there with taking out that MC-75, and they get it down so quickly.
So yeah, just 2 phases for HUTT Cartel here in this opening round versus Tangerine Squadron, showing us why they are our 3rd seed coming into the top 12 here. Showing some very strong play from the Imperial side on the Dairy Dockyards. You can see not a ton going on here, right? I mean, yes, there's a lot of cap ship damage, but I mean, when you're on offense the entire time, that's pretty much what's going to happen, right? And Tangerine, unfortunately, only able to find 28 AI kills that entire match. The Imperial side, even though they were only on defense once, still end up with 16 AI kills. So. Ooh, not a solid, or excuse me, an extremely solid start. Maybe I'll put it that way from HUTT Cartel here in their opening round, trying to make it into the top 4, I think, for the first time in our Calrissian Cup series. So let's see what they could do against Tangerine next round.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of loadouts they're going to be changing up. I wonder, we're going to see some shifting of the sides, like who's gonna choose what are they going to decide on using. Maybe Tangerine's an Empire person. They specialize in the Empire team, and that's why they weren't able to pull this off. Or there could be many factors. They just weren't prepared because we haven't seen the Defender all that much in the current meta, and maybe that got them off guard. But man, there was such an aggressive loadout, and they did such a good job just taking advantage of the situation, really.
Yeah, I would completely agree there. HUTT Cartel really making those defenders work, and that limited AI farm strategy work in their favor. Right, able to bring all of that defender firepower down on those Nebulon Bs, trying to avoid, of course, fire then in return, able to dodge all of that with those TIE defenders. and yeah, burning down 2 in a single phase. That's usually not what we see, right? We usually will end up seeing whoever's got that initial phase. Okay, we're going to get 1 Neb B or 1 cruiser down just enough, right, so that it's out of phaseable, and then okay, I'm just going to put as much damage as I possibly can on the other one, and maybe it gets there, maybe it doesn't. But here we saw it was the stars aligned on Nadiri Dockyards for HUTT Cartel there, and they made it work.
And it's usually a map that will have a preference towards the Republic too. So that was also something that we didn't really note, that normally when you do have a map like Nadiri Dockyards, it's going to really spread out kind of the length of the game. But we never even saw that part of things.
No kidding, right? It really was just not a very long game for any of those the Rebel starfighters to take advantage of that length of game there. I would absolutely agree. It looks like we are going to be heading into some chicken tendy territory on Galatan here coming up next.
Galatan.
We don't know what sides will be picked here. I have to imagine we'll see the sort of standard flip with Tangerine taking the Empire side, but we will see.
I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always fun on Galatan. We get to see them on their toes because of all those chicky tendies flying around. At any moment, you could get destroyed by one.
You know, it's very interesting. I think it does highlight the increase in player skill we've seen over the course of the event, right? I think early on we did see pilot error as a far greater threat, registering far more kills in some of the early games that we've had in the Cal Cup. As all teams have sort of regressed in their skill sets with piloting and maneuvering around things like those asteroids on Galatan, we don't see it very often. It does mean, of course, you've still got to be on your toes, like you said, right? But yeah, you know, I do wonder if maybe I'll even put it this way: it's a highlight of the player skill that we've got on display in this series, right? That shows us, okay, this is what if you can perfect your piloting skill to that degree, so that hey, you're not running into those asteroids anymore. Well, now you're putting yourself ahead of anybody else that just simply can't or struggles to do so on Galatan, right? Trying to do too many loops and winding up face deep in an asteroid. It does look like Tangerine Squadron will flip it up here, and they will take the Imperial side of things. HUTT Cartel flip it over to the New Republic. Galatan,
okay.
Yeah, a little bit easier on those AI packs. Still a little bit of mixing up. Still a little bit hard to find, but still plenty of routes for those Dumbfire Goliaths, if I remember correctly. So we will see if that changes HUTT Cartel's strategy, or if they're still going to go with that maximum TIE Defender loadout here.
I do wonder. I wonder if we're going to also almost see a replication of the other team. Like, are we going to see Tangerine take on that super heavy defender, aggressive loadout, or if they have their own setup that they're going to be utilizing? Maybe it's a bomber heavy, because we've been seeing that a lot too. And especially the last tournament that we had with Cal Cup, we saw a heavy focus on those bombers, where at one time we had 3 Y bombers on a Republic team, and I think at one point during one of the matches we even saw 4 with a support.
I do think you might be right on that. So we will see if it's you know, it is an interesting thing dang it, I said it. The interplay between, right, the AI packs, finding them, the Y-Wing now, of course, being boosted just enough, right, so that it's a little bit more agile, a little bit more capable in those direct sort of one-on-one fights in space. Not great, but it's still better, right? certainly better or more capable of escaping than it used to be. So it's not as much of a risk if you do go 4 Y wings deep, right? But it all does matter, I guess you could say, on whether or not you can find those AI packs. If you can, then you're all set, right? Then it almost makes it sense, makes it work, makes it worth the investment. But if you can't, then you're at a disadvantage. So we will see. Ooh.
2 bombers, a regular tie.
Maybe. Nobody's confirmed here, but
come on, lock in your answers.
Yeah, right. We'll poll the audience now. Wookiee going in with the TIE Defender here. Ion Jet and a Slam engine. A little bit of an interesting choice of engine loadouts for the 2 TIE bombers there. Some players just preferring to manage their power slightly differently between the different loadouts that are available there. So we flip over to HUTT Cartel. Sheriff of HUTT waving to us here as the Celestin. Hey,
okay, so they are replicating.
Yeah,
kind of what they had in last round on the Republic side here.
So yeah, going a lot of dampeners, some ions, looks like a proton torpedo, an ion missile. So protons probably coming in for that Raider kill. Very, very interesting. So yes, less focus on AI here, more focus on player kills. You know, we saw this style of play more commonly with Avenger Squadron way back in the day, with the Randalorians as well. Depending on what pilots we're more familiar with, it may just simply be Cartel players are just simply more familiar with that anti-squadron combat, so that's what they're going to hop into, and if they can make it work, then they make it work.
I mean, it's been working so far.
It has.
Having one of the most explosive openings that we've seen in the past few tournaments. Like, they've been kind of stretching the length a bit more recently, and they did not.
All right, and here we go, loading into round number 2 of our quarterfinals here. It is, of course, best of 5. HUTT Cartel taking round number 1 versus Tangerine Squadron. You can see the loadout here, 3 X-Wings deep for HUTT Cartel, trying to stay in range here as we begin this opening melee. And you can see, man, you know what? It is still one of the coolest sort of openings here to just dive into all of this blaster fire that immediately sort of strikes you all at once. Still one of the most cinematic games in the Star Wars universe. I still just cannot get over it sometimes.
It's so pretty and captures that Star Wars feel so well.
Star Dude here, maneuvering around those chicken tendies, getting that ion cannon down on that Raider, bringing those shields down fast and furious. That is the play from HUTT Cartel, but we could see Lemming and Sheriff both going down in this opening phase here. Tangerine Squadron striking back as the Imperials here, and they have easily, or excuse me, maybe I'll say handily taken this opening attack phase versus HUTT Cartel, saying they will not go down without a fight. And they have, yeah, no kidding, an incredibly well executed opening from Tangerine Squadron. They do lose Trevor Revenge in that opening melee there, but HUTT Cartel now on the defensive here as they move into the opening of this first assault phase. Dark Blade here now rotoring into the shields of D, spinning around and make another attack run here. Still at 58 hull there, so he is not getting bothered. A little bit of repair juice from Cro-Magnon there. Flaria is still looking a little worse for wear, trying to make their attack runs as well. Just got an AI pack that was just found. Morale still holding pretty strong. D shields are down. C is also dropping quickly. Boy, we are seeing some excellent pressure from Tangerine here. We can see shields dropping on Cro-Magnon though. They are in trouble trying to get out of there as quickly as possible. the more anti-Starfighter configuration from HUTT Cartel. Not finding a ton of player kills here. They do manage to down that Raider Corvette. It blows up. Only a few bits and pieces of morale left on that bar. That is, it will fall back. That be down to just a hair, and it will go down here. There it goes. But not a ton done on the other Nebi. So more of a standard opening. Good, solid defense from HUTT Cartel coming into this now their offensive phase here.
Yeah, they decided to go more with the standard. We're going to attack one and then get it out of phase, regain some of that morale, and jump right back into it. But man, did Tangerine start off strong and just decide, hey, we aren't going to have... We're not going to get walked over like we did last game.
So yeah, maybe even just making some minor adjustments there in what their angle of attack was for that opening. Now on defense, finding a player kill on Livin' La Hut. I believe that's a Livin' La Vida Loca reference? That might be.
That's what's playing through my head right now.
And we do see, I don't know, Darkblade was almost down, but they managed to get some repair action going from that support ship, firing out some crucial repair droids here. Cartel running low on morale. Oh, and a spoony toe kill there does push the morale bar all the rest of the way. That light cruiser is out of phaseable, but it's going to take just a little bit more effort. Down to 10-8 now, just to get it the rest of the way down. Lingering torpedo there. Yes, it will finally end it. And we are in a very now tight game. With Tangerine Squadron now just slightly perhaps in the lead. Trevor needs to get out of there. They are taking some heavy fire. Down to 3 health. No, they don't get out, and that is going to push that morale bar even further out. That is going to make it real tasty for Cartel here. I think this is looking pretty good for them. They've got not too much left on that morale bar to push.
Yeah, they could do some really good damage to that morale bar very easily.
The real question is, are they going to push this frigate through? Yes, they are. So with half a morale bar left, CR-90, with the Raider Corvette still up, they are going to push into an assault on that MC-75. As soon as HUTT Cartel takes down that Raider Corvette, though, it is going to be some very tight timelines. Oh no, and Cro-Magnon gets ion here. Can they take advantage of it? Down to 50 hull. No, looks like Cro-Magnon. Spoke too soon.
What's going on?
Sometimes I don't even know.
Okay.
No. Oh, and Darkblade and Fellerus. 3 out of 5 of Tangerine Squadron go down on this offense. Wookiee now also out of phase on that MC-75. Oh, taking some hefty fire. Trying to get out of there. Trevor also goes down in this. Oh man, everybody is out on Tangerine Squadron here. Wookiee trying to recover just enough, but it is going to be tough on defense here. HUTT Cartel has the goal wide open here, just coming in on that Architans. Going to burn that down and then move on to that ISD.
They're doing some damage. Tangerine's trying to gain back some of that morale, but they aren't getting there quite yet. Oh, they get down the cruiser, and they're going towards the ISD now.
Spoony Toe making a run back to the MC-75. Realizing that, we are actually 4 deep now on X-Wings. No support in place for HUTT Cartel here. They are coming in hot on this Star Destroyer. There is, you know what, we haven't called it out this entire time. Wookiee has been out of phasing the MC-75 this entire time.
Oh my god.
Targeting is down, left shield is down, power systems are down. Right shield also starting to fall. All on their own, it looks like.
Wow.
Wow, indeed. The MC-75 just now getting its shields back up. That is really going to prevent Wookie from doing any more damage to the MC-75. They really need to get back and defend this ISD. No! Holy... I still don't even know what's going on here. It's hard to tell. But Tangerine has managed to flip it, and also the entire time that it was in their defense phase, just hammered this MC-75. Hull damage, not so much, but all of these subsystems have been destroyed.
Wow.
While they were on defense. Wookie using the maneuverability of that TIE defender to take advantage of this poor old MC-75.
What a fantastic strategy by Tangerine there. They decided to take the gamble of sticking back with the MC-75 and hoping that... Oh, there it goes. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Just, wow. I still don't even know. Let's look at what Wookie has for cap ship damage here. I have to imagine quite a bit. Yeah, 60 top cap ship damage on the team with 67,000. Darkblade with 65 as well. Not very many player kills on each side. AI kills about even, although no, not 44 AI kills versus 38, so not too much of a differential there. But man, that defense from Tangerine Squadron, and I mean, I can't, right? We saw Wookie going in or trying to linger perhaps in that
yes,
on offense for a little bit longer, and I thought he was pulling out of there entirely. Instead, Tangerine Squadron completely respawned, and Wookie stayed in the whole time.
I thought Wookie was going to, like you said, just go back and join the rest of their team. Nope, they just sat there and they did some great damage. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, that was the key play of that round for Tangerine Squadron. Allowing them to get all of those subsystems down, disabling the targeting, right, which reduces the fire on the ISD the whole time, getting power systems, all but one shield, all on defense. Tangerine able to get down enough HUTT Cartel members and enough AI in order to flip the phase, and then it's oh hey, everything's been set up for me. I'll just the rest of Tangerine just sort of showed up. Yeah, just walks right in, and then they're gone. I don't think we've seen that, and I do wonder how much of a like direct play call that may have been. Hey, we've practiced this before, or you know what? I'm already here, guys. I'm just gonna out of phase this thing, and it worked beautifully, right?
It did. It worked fantastic. I too wonder if it was like a planned thing, or if they're like, you know what? Might as well. I'm over here. They didn't really capitalize on the last round, so maybe they won't capitalize on this round. So I'm just going to stay back here and do a lot of damage and take down those subsystems. I almost think that HUTT Cartel underestimated them too, because they never left anyone. Because usually, like, if there is that shift, they'll leave at maybe one or two at the previous side to kind of defend and keep the home base ready. But no, they decided no support. We're gonna go full on X-wings and bomber, and we're just gonna do as much damage as we can. They didn't really capitalize all that much. While Tangerine, they capitalized. They all caps lock everything.
Caps lock. Yes, Wookie definitely hit the caps lock as cruise control for cool mode there, and really just absolutely demolished that MC-75. You're absolutely right, though. We have seen players and teams try to out of phase in that same manner before, right? And I think other players, or maybe perhaps other teams, have then said, "Oh, hey, we actually do have to throw somebody back on defense. At least get this guy that's hanging out back here. Get rid of him. Shoo him away. Do something, right?" Because the MC-75, I mean, I'm too poor of a pilot to actually to do anything like that, right? That MC-75 is going to waste me in no seconds flat. But for the folks that are, that we've got on display here, they're not only are they able to dodge all of that MC-75 flak using key drifting techniques, etc., right? But they're also able to deal a ton of damage on those cap ships while doing it. And it usually does take a player added in with those flak shots to take somebody down. If it's just somebody by themselves, I think we see it here, right? That given time and energy, right, and perhaps a TIE defender, they could do whatever they want to that.
And a lot of guts, a lot of trust in their skills.
A lot of guts, that's right. A lot of trust. Well, this is the Imperial side of things, so probably not trust in the Force. But either way, to get that done,
trust in your commanders.
Trust in, yeah, well, maybe.
The Sith Force.
The Sith forces, sure.
Papa
sure.
Palps.
Trust in Palpa Palp.
Yeah. I mean,
to get it done. That's right. It looks like we are going to switch back to HUTT Cartel on the Imperial side of things for my favorite map, Subo. There is going to be a time where I'm not going to be able to make that Phil Collins joke, but maybe today is not that day.
Today is not that day. So for this next round, I don't think we're going to see that same mistake on the HUTT Cartel side of things. I think they underestimated Tangerine, and they're going to be kicking it up in gear. So I think we're going to see both teams really, really stepping it up and hammering down on their strategies. And I think Tangerine, they were able to get the upper hand with the level of surprise, and now they have to do it again.
Yeah, that's a really good point, right? It's one of those things where the trick only works once, right? And then once my opponent knows about it, then it's a little bit tougher to pull off a second time. Sisabo is is one, right, where the AI farm is a little bit more open, a little bit more transparent. I do wonder if we're going to see a heavier loadout in bombers from either squadron here to take advantage of it. So I will be fascinated by HUTT Cartel's picks here to see if they stick with this support 3 defender strong 1 TIE bomber loadout.
Right.
It's not quite enough to get a fast flip in this opener, right?
They need those AI kills.
You're absolutely right. And I think, as we even saw in the previous Cal Cup event, right, the Dumbfire Goliath strategy is not a foolproof one. So they may have even gone one step further and said, you know what, we're not even going to rely on it at all. We're going to focus our efforts on that single player combat, the taking down the enemy Corvette in each of those opening rounds, because that's a guaranteed hit or guaranteed shot, right? They know exactly where those targets are, and nobody can shoot down my Goliath. It'll be I am interested to see what they are going to come up with for this round 3 here in our opening quarterfinals match on your Fall Minor Calrissian Cup tournament.
What will they do? What will they do? Oh, we're about to see.
All right. I was just checking the back and forth chat here. Looks like we had a little bit of a water break for all the pilots, but it's, of course, terribly important to stay hydrated while you're flying around ships in the galaxy here.
Okay, so we've got the same setup so far. I mean, they haven't locked it in, but it's looking like they're going to keep a similar setup as we saw in that first round.
Dampener hull and ray shields on a couple of these TIE defenders. A scrambler shield on one of them there. The, of course, standard Goliath multi-lock missile setup on the TIE bomber for Sheriff. And then we go on to the...
Okay.
Ooh, are we going to see a Wookiee in an A-Wing? Are we going to see a Wookiee in an A-Wing? That's got to be a tight fit.
I would think so.
there's not a lot of room in there. I mean, you do get some great visibility, but I mean,
I mean, it's more of the standard layout that we were thinking
about. Do flight suits even come in a Wookiee size?
I mean, handcuffs didn't come in Wookiee size until the Rise of Skywalker, so.
It's a very, very good point, Uplink. I had not considered that. So it might just simply be, yeah, man, now that I think about it, right? Like if I'm thinking about trying to, the crew that supports that A-wing has just got to hate trying to vacuum out that cockpit every single flight, right? Like it's just, if the flight suit isn't there to contain it, then I mean you're just sitting around. I mean that's okay, I guess, because you're a Wookiee, whatever, right? But
I mean, all you have to do is kind of pressurize the hole, send it out into space, open up the top hatch, and then it just gets sucked all out.
It's self vacuuming. You're right. That's a very good point. Huh.
Boom.
Look at that. Just solving future space problems today.
We got this, man. They should pay us more money.
All right, Wookiee deciding not to go into that A-wing, sticking with the standard air superiority X-wing here as we head into an even Stevens match, or round 3 now. Both
HUTT Cartel
teams taking
stayed the same.
Nice. All right, so we are seeing a very similar loadout from the past 2 matches. Let's see if the results are any different. Started taking a quick look around there. Oh, there. All right, let's get into it here. Started coming in hot on not on Sheriff, no. Choosing not to target. Very interesting. Trying to stay targeted at least for a little bit on their own players for support purposes, trying to track their health. And instead now coming in, see if we'll see a couple of little repair droids go out here as well. Very even back and forth so far. No real damage being dealt either way. Live in the Hut taking a, or live in the Hut? I want to say Liven, but definitely Livin. Live in the Hut taking a little bit of hull damage there, but it's a defender, so I mean that's like what, 1 laser blast. Everybody, seems to be a very cautious opening. HUTT Cartel finding a few more AI there, and then a little bit of fighting back from Tangerine. Stardew goes down, but Darkblade also goes down, and there goes the Corvette to flip the rest of the way. It will be HUTT Cartel with the opening flip here. Livin coming back for a little bit of repair. So a Darkblade kill, and of course the kill on that Corvette first is just barely got enough morale to make that flip, but that's all that counts in that opening salvo. And now we're seeing these defenders come in with ion missiles aplenty on those Nebulon Bs. Shields on C down, shields on D weakening. Ooh, taking a little bit of a diversion here from killing that Nebulon B to perhaps get an AI kill here on Falrius. Man, concussion missiles going out, down to 19 hull, trying to chase Falrius down. That Y-wing just barely dodging out of the way. Getting in behind him. Boy, howdy, spinning, always spinning.
Great
Beacons
maneuverability, though.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I know I couldn't pull that off if a defender was chasing a Y-wing.
But perhaps it was just enough, right? So while, of course, that Y-wing is trying to maneuver out of the way, they're not getting AI farm. They do finally manage to get a Corvette and a few more AI packs. Corvette goes down, and we will see. Oh boy! Now they've left C alone. There it goes. Finally, the phase flips. We'll see C pop. There it goes. And now we are on to the offense for Tangerine Squadron. They've got a fair bit of ground to make up here. Let's see what they can do.
It almost looked like HUTT Cartel were trying to take down both. They weren't able to accomplish it as quickly as they were in that first match that we saw. And I think Tangerine is definitely learning from that first match, and they're starting to kind of. I could almost see that Y-wing being a distraction that they kept on trying to take him out.
We see some missiles going into the shields of C from Falrius here in that very same Y-wing. Shields down on C. Looks like that Corvette is... Ooh, that Corvette does go down. Oh no, and also a player kill. Excuse me, that Corvette is almost down. It is... I can see it on fire. It's almost dead. But now 2 player kills on Tangerine, and now the Corvette finally falls. Boy, that is a really strong like defense phase, a repulsion of everything Tangerine had to offer there, shoving them back, and both Architect's frigates still up for HUTT Cartel, and C being almost down already. This is going to be a pretty smooth transition from downing C and then going into that MC-75. I have a feeling Tangerine is trying to hold off on getting those AI kills until after that Net B goes down. Obviously, if they had managed to scrounge any points up there, they'd immediately offset by that MC-75 or that Net B kill. Oh man, and we're going to get a shield generator already. Ooh, no, just barely. Stardude does go down. They're trying to fight back a little bit. We do see that right shield generator go down.
Okay, they're targeting the left now. Trying at least.
Yeah, they're taking a little bit of fire, so Livin' La Hutt is coming in as close to that MC-75 as they can. Those strafing runs right on targets. Woo.
Oh, hanging on by a thread here.
Just by a thread, indeed. And there it goes. Shields all down on the MC-75. Half a morale bar to go. It is based on the rate.
Good spot here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can Tangerine even do anything here to save themselves? I don't know. They managed to get down the Raider Corvette.
Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's gonna be enough. Power systems are still up though. Without power systems going down, there isn't any blisters to pop on the MC-75. Oh, there goes one. They do manage to find one. Maybe that's even a faulty readout, but there it goes.
I think they can take it out. Yep, there they go. So we see with HUTT Pink Cartel on the Imperial side, with that same loadout, they're able to take out the victory. Tangerine did a really good job, though, of kind of holding them back quite a bit. Okay.
AI kills for being there. 43, 44, 45, excuse me. It's still not enough. Just the way the phases flipped and what order. And so you could see, yeah, you know, Cartel coming in with just a slightly different strategy overall, choosing to avoid AI kills whenever they can, going instead for player harassment, player kills, and the Corvettes. And hey, it seems to be working for them, as you mentioned last time around.
Surprisingly worked for them. I did not expect that. I mean, when they started this map right before, we were talking about how they almost need to focus on the AI, especially on this map. But apparently, if you have your strategy like they do, you don't necessarily need to. Like, how's that working?
I was just taking a look back at some of the Swiss rounds from the previous day here, just to see how they fared. They did manage to finish 4-1, so 4 wins, 1 loss in all of the matches yesterday. I believe, yes, their only loss came to our top seed versus Imperial Guard.
Okay.
And so, if they're 80% of the time, it works every time, right? So, I mean, if they're able to achieve that in all of the games they had yesterday, then I have to imagine it's been, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It has been working extremely well so far. Yeah, beating a number of solid and strong teams yesterday. So, yeah, their success continuing here against Tangerine Squadron, in round 3.
They're slowly but surely getting, like, I think what they really need to work on in terms of HUTT Pink Cartel is they need to work on that New Republic strategy. Because while the X-Wing with certain change-ups, it is quite competitive and quite comparable to the maneuverability and of the A-Wing. We've seen this shift with some of the updates over time that the A-Wing has become a lot less viable on the New Republic because of the changes that they've made to the X-Wing. So I think they were like, they tried to go to the closest thing that they could to the Defender on the New Republic side, but it's not quite the Defender. The Defender is very unique in Squadrons, and while not many people are using it currently in the meta, they're using it to great effect.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that. The Defender, I think, from even when it was first launched, right, and we had the Oops All TIE Defenders for
Yes.
some of the early games of the Calrissian Cup, right? I don't want to say it's shifted into more of a niche role, right? It's still one of the extremely strong complements to the Imperial Force. It has gone through some ebbs and flows here, and I think you're right in terms of what approach each team is taking to the game right now. We are seeing it shift and change in some ways maybe we haven't seen it before, right? If I want to say we are, or at least we had, and maybe this is just the beginning of a slightly new normal, or perhaps the rock to the paper to the scissors, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Where we had seen more TIE bombers to take advantage of that better AI farming capability and knowledge that we sort of now had built within the community. But if now, okay, well, if you can counter that and you need to switch to something else, well, switching almost back to the TIE Defender does seem to be a bit of that, rock, paper, scissors sort of set up in an odd way, you know? So, yeah, I have to wonder if HUTT Cartel will be able to continue their success going forward using the same loadout.
I am very curious to see what they end up doing and what their loadout looks like. Do we know what map that they're on yet?
Ooh, I do,
because
think
that
we
could
know
really
that.
decide what they end up doing.
So we are going to be on Fostar Haven here, and it will be, it looks like Tangerine Squadron's pick for side here. They do not have that decision yet. It looks like we are, oh, no, there it is. Tangerine Squadron taking the Imperial side there. We are, it looks like getting that lobby set up and going now. So I do wonder if it's just going to be right back to where we were before.
Back and forth.
Hey, you know what? That's okay. It means I get to cast more squadrons, so that makes it always a good day for me.
Exactly.
But it is going to be. I am now extremely curious if we're just going to see a repeat of what we had on Fostar Haven. It is. And I'm trying to remember my map plays here. If I remember correctly, it is a little bit tougher on the New Republic side here on Fostar Haven. So Tangerine may very well have the advantage coming into this particular map. The very last map here, which of course could decide the round if Tangerine does take round 4 here, is on Yavin. So... Ooh, boy, I think this is going to be some very tight matches for the last 2 that we've got here in our opening quarterfinals match.
And if we do see that back and forth, the ultimate decider, the ultimate even ground, the final destination of squadrons. My love, Yavin. Good old Yavin.
Yavin, good old
Yavin, my haven.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the determinant factor of who ultimately is the better team of the two. But maybe we'll see, because I think Tangerine will definitely have the advantage here. But I'm not sure how HUTT Cartel is going to approach this, and if they are going to continue with their really heavy, aggressive loadout that they've been rocking and rolling with so far, and it's worked to great effect on the Empire, but on the Republic, we've yet to see it really pay off. But they've only been on the Republic once, so I think we don't have enough to pull or enough data to pull from quite yet. But it could be the determinant factor of like back and forth. These teams are just really like, each team is better with the Empire, and then they're like, okay, let's try to do the same thing on the Republic.
Yeah, you know, it's very interesting. We did see very early in Cal Cup, right, a definite favoritism towards the Imperial side, and often the team that could win was the one who could win with while still using the New Republic, right? We even saw, if you want to say, a couple of quote unquote upsets, right, where coming into the last round, or maybe the critical round of a particular match, the team that took the event overall was the one that was able to play New Republic and beat the Imperial side of things. Here now, it's not nearly as, you're right, unbalanced from a mechanics standpoint, but clearly all of these ships do fly slightly differently, and you've got to have an extremely broad skill set in all of these different ships in order to actually fly them and take advantage of everything each of those ships has to offer. So you're absolutely right. When it comes to a Defender and an X-Wing, yes, they're similar and they kind of play a similar role, especially with ordnance and loadouts, but they're not quite the same, and they may not be the same enough for some of these players to really make them sing.
Well, let's see kind of what we're looking at in terms of their setup here. Okay, so this is the same loadout that they had last time that they were as the Empire.
Yep, we've got Cro-Magnon in the Raider, their support, Falrius and Darkblade in the TIE Bombers, Wookiee and Warrenders both in TIE Defender, so both in a sort of air superiority role there. Back over to the HUTT Cartel, living La Hutta Loca over there, giving us a little bit of a saxophone siren song. And
they're doing the same thing.
We are still seeing the same thing. So despite changes in AI pathing, AI setups, we are still seeing a continued focus on air superiority from HUTT Cartel. Now, I can't tell enough, right? I haven't seen Tangerine out there enough to see if they really are trying to take advantage of those dumbfire shots, and HUTT Cartel is just simply shooting them down, or they're even not even going for it. They've decided to, obviate that strategy entirely, and instead go for direct multi-locks, Goliaths when we've got closer locks, things like that, rather than in that opening phase. So we will have to see how quick and dirty, or how long and drawn out, this opening phase here on round 4 of our quarterfinals match between Tangerine Squadron and HUTT Cartel will play out here on Fostar Haven. Boy, that cinematic, that red-orange sun over there. Excuse me, I guess I shouldn't say sun. I guess it's more appropriately named star, right? Do we know the name of the star on Fostar Haven? Is it just simply Fostar?
I see what you did there. It's almost like a dying star, honestly.
Yeah, it is a little bit of dwarf star action there.
We need the lore master.
I'm sure we'll get Hammer around to correct this when we head into the next match here. All right, as we get into the opening 2 minutes face-off between Tangerine and HUTT Cartel here, we can see Livin' La Hutt coming in hot on that center fight. Now, of course, unlike the rest of the maps here in Squadrons, we've got, oh man, look at that cinematic zoom and pressure on this fleet from the Rebel side coming into that center battle. All right, we've got a number of explosions going on, some pressure from Tangerine into that AI, a couple more AI packs going down. Oh, but Sheriff is in trouble. Man, we've got a lot of back and forth now. AI is going to be hard for HUTT Cartel to find here now that they've lost their only AI farmer. Can they take the Raider down in time, or will Tangerine pick up all the AI packs they need in order to push this phase?
The AI pathing on this map is difficult and very sparse, so I think this one, Foster Haven usually ends up being a longer match, but we'll see how these teams do. Again, Hot Pink Cartel, like they did last time, they did lose the flip when they are on the Republic side, so...
Yeah, so Tangerine coming in very strong here as the Imperial side of things, able to take out Sheriff's Y-Wing and down the rest of that. Oh, Cro-Magnon takes an ion missile and gets knocked out of the sky there. That is going to help a little bit on this defensive phase. We can see shields now down on D, coming in close with all of these, like just the entire array of Tangerine Squadron focusing down D here. D coming down real quick. That each of the Corvettes right on Foster Haven takes an even longer time sort of to fly into where the battle is occurring, because it has to come, sort of flies from outside of where the battle is inside this station here and then sort of floats in. Can be a difficult decision whether or not to just, whoa, yeah, a little bit of bonking around in there. You do have to watch out for those extremely black asteroids and walls inside Foster Haven there. Yeah, right? The shadows will play tricks on you. D almost down completely, but perhaps a little bit too fast for Tangerine here. Not giving them a ton of time to burn down the other frigate. This frigate now down to 7, 5, 4. Oh, Wanderers takes a hard loss there.
We do have some clarification on the star. Someone in the chat, Marco, says just a red/brown dwarf, small and long-lived, not dying.
So in the early phases of star formation, if I remember correctly, just after, boy, I've played too many space strategy games to even think I know anything about astronomy. But here we go, back into the things we kind of know about, Squadrons. Here we go. We've got Tangerine Squadron back on defense here. HUTT Cartel coming in hot on those cruisers. You know,
again, they're going with their strategy of trying to take out both at the same time, which is a really good strategy if you can pull it off, because you split up both your team and their team. Or they'll focus on one and leave the other to get destroyed, like they have been doing with D here.
Yeah, I do wonder, you know, I think it might just simply be right. Oh wow, we've got, yeah, Stardude rocking the ion cannons. I think it's just flipping over to the next frigate sort of earlier, right? We've seen that's a similar strategy play out with other teams. For example, even Splinter Squadron, right, and some of their original ones was using a TIE Defender with ion cannons to take down shields ahead of time. Darkblade trying to get out of there, does get a repair module. That is going to make that considerably tougher to take down there. Lemming still trying to find purchase on those blaster shots. Just
They're
not able to find it.
I wonder what the ultimate goal is for Lemming. Is it just distraction? Is it trying to get some of that morale back? What exactly is the payoff they're looking for with that?
I mean, I think that's got to be pure distraction. I mean, right, the whole time that they were chasing Darkblade around, Darkblade's not able to focus on trying to find AI packs, extending that phase just a little bit. Are they going to take both? Ooh, no, they might just be preparing that second one, or they are going to take both here. Well, let's see. We can watch that morale bar to find out. Lemming does go down. Sheriff managed to find a few more, so we are going to see. Wow, that really was both frigates down.
So they were able to pull it off this time around, which they weren't able to last time HUTT Cartel were on the Republic.
That's a very good point. Very good point. Yes, they, whether it was through happenstance or otherwise. Okay, there goes the other Neb B now. So Tangerine Squadron now onto the MC-75. They did have the opening assault phase, so they are going to be a little bit ahead here. We are going to see them coming on the MC-75 after downing what remained after that Neb B. Can they do it in one phase? Oh, a player kill on Cro-Magnet and Valerius is going to make this really difficult here. Shields are...
That is a great move from HUTT right there.
Yeah, no kidding. So great. Well, whether fortune or skill, that is going to be it for that defensive phase. Right shield gen was disabled. Left shield gen destroyed. Right shield gen disabled.
Where's the Wookiee?
Where is the Wookiee? And we could see them coming in on, they are not on that MC-75. Instead, trying to play a lead role, getting down the shields on that CR-90 Corvette as Lemming coming in hot on that ISD shield generator. Making this beautiful Vandersloop run here. Woo! A torpedo and a disable on that shield generator. A torpedo and an ion missile on that shield generator. Not enough to take it down, but enough
is just about to go, and it
there
goes down.
Right is
follows.
Also down. ISD looking good on health, but not on shields. Just a couple blaster shots just for the heck of it from Livin. And as they flip underneath, just flip to the back. The weak point engines, right? It's not really a weak point, but just based on the way the turrets are oriented on the ISD, the rear of the ship is just a little bit easier to stay behind. Oh man, this ISD.
Empire, really.
I know, right? Who designs flying triangles? I mean, come on. It's the Imperial's fault that they lost here because of their poor ship design.
Wow, HUTT Cartel, even though they did have a rocky start, they were able to pull it off in the end.
Yeah, the couple of player kills they were able to pull off on Tangerine while they were making their move on the MC-75 pulled, or true,
102,000 capital ship damage.
Wow. Just nothing but caps lock all day for Livin' La Hutt there. Also pulling down 2 kills. In fact, here we go. I think that was 7 player kills across HUTT Cartel there, so quite a few more than they've had in some of the previous matches. That air superiority focus paying off in their, in now taking that opening quarterfinal round versus Tangerine Squadron. So Tangerine, it was good to have you on screen. We wish you the best.
An incredible job, Wookiee. You should be proud of that amazing victory you pulled out there.
That's right. All right, so we are going to head into our next round here after a short break. So stay tuned here for your Fall Minor Calrissian Cup.